And I'm live. What's going on, A2D Nation? Welcome to the Strike Zone. Matt Downing here, as always, and we got a lot of great Phillies talk for you guys tonight. As we start with the Phillies game, let's start with some Phillies talk tonight. And of course, the Phillies just snapped their 6-game losing streak, trying to start a new winning streak tonight, and might have something to do with Kyle Schwarber getting moved down in that lineup. After just the delusions of putting him in the leadoff spot led to absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing. Phillies finally moved him back down to the fifth. Rob Thompson finally moved Schwarber back in the fifth spot, and he hit a home run and had 3 RBIs, which in a game for Schwarber hasn't happened much in a Philly uniform. So let's hope that that can continue going on for the Phillies here starting tonight. And and I also want to hear what you guys think tonight also as well. What do you think about the Phillies lineup with Schwarber going back down? Do you guys actually like Schwarber? Do people actually like Schwarber in the leadoff spot? That's what I really want to know. So just let me know. Or do you think, yeah, he belongs in that fifth spot and should continue to stay that way even when June comes? But I'll get into that tonight as well. And the Phillies pitching, getting a big boost this week. Ranger Suarez expected to return potentially this weekend. And that's going to affect the Phillies rotation specifically in a big way. And we've already seen that with Matt Strahm going to the bullpen. I'm going to tell you why that's maybe not the best idea. And we're going to get into the Phillies starters. And with Aaron Nola going tonight, there's a lot that needs to be improved upon with the Phillies pitching. And we're going to get into some of the ways I think that can, with Ranger coming back, what the best ways can do to help that. And just also the Phillies bullpen with Craig Kimbrel and the recent debacles that have gone on recently in the Phillies bullpen. Should we have a set structure for the bullpen? I'm going to get into that tonight as well. And going around the rest of the MLB, taking a look not too far away in the AL East with every team above 500 right now. Is it actually possible that will continue to the end of the season? Or is every team in the AL East, do you think they will actually finish above 500 this year? It's happened very, very rarely in baseball. So we're going to get into that and see if that's possible going for the rest of the year. And lastly, we'll get into some of my fantasy picks for the week, as usual, to end up the night. So let's get into it.
Oh my God! Oh my! Embarrassed! He's flying! Welcome in. It's almost time.
All right, there we go. All right, so we are now in the strike zone. Thank you. What's going on, guys, tonight? Brian, Jake, Greg, Rob. Love, thank you guys for joining right now. Awesome, yeah. And so let's get into with Schwarber right now. I mean, that's really the biggest thing that I've wanted to talk to. Kyle Schwarber, Rob Thompson going into that Dodgers series last weekend with Bryce Harper coming back. Rob Thompson decided to run it back to last year and decided to put Schwarber back in the leadoff spot. Now, Schwarber has been in leadoff spot for the majority of his career, starting with his time in Chicago. And it's something that I have truly never been able to understand, especially when he came to the Phillies last year. Like, you think about 2 years ago, excuse me. So you think about last year. What the heck am I saying? So you think about with Bryce Harper in that lineup right now that he's back, right? Going back to last year when he got hurt, right? We still kept him in that leadoff spot. And granted, June happens and, we're waiting for June right now, obviously, right? Schwarber just loves to hit in June. So, we'll see if that's the case again. One of the weirdest coincidences ever for a guy. But so with Schwarber going, with Schwarber being in the leadoff spot last year, right? And with Rob Thompson deciding to put him back in the spot this past weekend. And the results were about as horrible as you could possibly expect. In that Dodgers series alone, he went 0 for 19 with 7 strikeouts and 2 walks. And no walks, sorry. So, 0 for 19, that's not good. And honestly, the way Schwarber's been hitting this year, the fact that even going into that game before that Dodgers series, the way Schwarber has been hitting to start the year has been absolutely atrocious to start this year. This is a guy that over the last 2 weeks of the season, he is 6 for his last 43. 6 for his last 43. So he was struggling. I mean, he's been struggling all year. We've seen. And the only time when he does hit a home run, it happens to be a solo, which is just, which is always seems to be the thing for the Phillies, to start this year. But, yeah, so now with Schwarber struggling the way he's been struggling to start this year, right? In what possible way with Bryce, especially with Bryce Harper coming back? All right, now you got one of the best hitters in baseball coming back, one of the best players. And obviously with Tommy John, we weren't sure how he was going to react. And obviously, just because Bryce is not maybe not human, I think he's divine. That's what I think so. You see the aura around that guy. There has to be something going on because that arm has been blessed to be able to heal that quickly from Tommy John. As a former pitcher, I mean, knowing people that have had that surgery, that what he is doing, what Bryce is doing right now is not normal. I just want to say that, right? Make that very clear. What Bryce is doing right now is not normal to come back from that type of surgery that quickly, and to be able to look the exact same Bryce Harper, like he hasn't missed a beat in the 6 games that he's been back. 368 average, got his first home run, take the bat and gloves off, hits a home run, scored 6 runs so far as well. So he's getting on base. And he's doing his thing. He's hitting to the other. He's going the opposite way. Literally, as soon as he started hitting was that double. He hit the double to the double down the field and right. Like Bryce is already back, and you need that going up there. And with Nick Castellanos hitting great in the 4 spot, now you have the protection. And with Trey Turner, he's going to get it going at some point. But now getting back to Schwarber, right? So you got Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Nick Castellanos. Probably when they get going, that's probably one of the most dangerous 2, 3, 4 hitters in all of baseball. No question about that. So with Schwarber in the equation now, so going back, like I said, he's been a leadoff hitter for most of his career, right? And it's never made sense. He has never been a high average hitter. It's a guy who's like basically hitting the 230s for his career. I mean, this is a guy that has never been – he strikes out a lot. Last year, led the league in home runs, obviously, with 46. But let's get into those 46 home runs last year. 46 in the regular season last year. Led the National League. Fantastic, right? Well, but the problem was, and I was so excited. I was talking to a lot of my buddies tonight. I was so excited to talk about this tonight because literally all of last year, the thing I complain about the most with the Phillies has been Schwarber in that leadoff spot because this guy has never been a leadoff hitter. He's not a leadoff hitter. When you're getting a guy, like I don't know what analytics or what numbers that Rob or the Phillies are looking at, but it's something I think that it's something that goes beyond it. And I was talking to my buddy about this this week. Like it's something that goes beyond because when a guy is hitting 170, when a guy's hitting 200, 188, he's hitting 188, and you decide to put him in the leadoff spot when your best hitter's coming back, that tells me that there's no numbers that can point to the fact that you should put him in that spot. There's no numbers that are pointing to that. And especially with the way that he's performing. Forget the analytics for 1 second. Just look how the guy's hitting right now. He's not hitting. And you're going to put him up in the leadoff spot where guys are going to be he's going to get fastballs in the first inning, but you're banking on him to hit a home run in the first inning. Like that's not a recipe for success. To get the 1-run lead, like 1 run in the MLB right now is nothing, especially with the Phillies pitching right now. 1 run isn't going to do anything for you. I don't give a crap about a leadoff home run at this point, especially if that's all you're going to get, going forward with Schwarber. So I think that, going to the fact, all right, so Schwarber, 46 home runs last year, 38 of them came in the leadoff spot, right? 38 solo home runs. So this is a guy like Schwarber has 46 home runs last year and only 94 RBIs. He's never had over 100 RBIs in his career. That's kind of crazy to think about that Schwarber's never had over 100 RBIs. Last year was his career high for RBIs in a season. That wasn't talked about last year. Of course, it was about the home runs leading the National League, as it should be. But the one thing that keeps getting lost in the shuffle, it's like, this guy had 46 home runs. You can't tell me this guy doesn't have 100 RBIs. It was like the Bryce Harper, when Bryce Harper's MVP season back in 2021 with us. The biggest criticism that he got that entire season, that entire MVP run, was that his RBIs were so low. Everyone was hung up on the fact that he only had 84 RBIs to finish the season. It was like, well, okay, a guy that finishes that is going to be MVP, 84 RBIs, way too low for like a guy that's MVP should be having over 100 RBIs. And yes, typically, right, that's usually the case. If you're going to be an MVP, you're going to be having over 100 RBIs. But with Bryce, the way that he carried that team in the way that so much of the time, and you look at the percentages, they were absolutely mind-blowing how many times he did not have a guy on base. It was absolutely mind-blowing. He had 14 solo home runs to start the year himself. It took him till Chicago. It was like his 15th home run of the year. He finally had a home run that wasn't a solo. Absolutely incredible. Like, this is a guy that, like, in the 3-hole should be having RBIs like it's nothing, especially with the lineup that we got now. But with the lineup that we got now, like, Schwarber just does not fit in the leadoff spot. There is just simply too many guys that we have in the lineup that hit for average now, with the way that Marsh has developed and the way that Alec Boehm has developed. Boehm and Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm are in a bit of slumps right now, as we've seen. And I think that was part of the reason why that Rob, if there was one argument, I think that if I can see why Rob went with Schwarber in the leadoff spot, is that Bryson Stott has really been struggling over the last couple of weeks himself, and Alec Boehm as well. Those guys have usually been, with Rob putting Bryson in the leadoff spot. I think for the long term, that's what's going to have to be him or Brandon Marsh. You can interchange, I think, either one. I mean, Marsh has obviously proven that. I think Marsh is the all-star center fielder right now for the National League. If you want to really get into it, but the way that he's been playing right now, he's certainly deserving of that at this point of the season. So I think that and obviously they want the lefty up at the start of the lineup, which is fine, and that's what you have Stott for. Like, put the lefty up right there. Marsh lefty as well. You can easily put one of those guys, but I think with going back to Schwarber now. Yeah, you know what? Let's see, Brian. Shouldn't be left, but they need to shake the lineup. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, like, so this is part of shaking this lineup up, and it goes into like what the Phillies got to do with this lineup. And I think at times they overthink it way too much. Like, when you're putting Schwarber in the top of the lineup, like, that's something I think that you're just overthinking. Like, and I think that goes into Schwarber as well. And this was something I was talking to my buddy about this week. With Schwarber, like, I think there's something more to it when you have a guy that's been around for as long as Schwarber has, and has had the success that he's had in the and the playoff, especially the playoff success that he's been around, and the type of guy that he's revered to be. I think there's something that goes to it where it's like, all right, Schwarber, like, like, for the success of his team, like, you're not, the best spot for you is not in the leadoff spot. Like, you're a guy that's gonna hit at this point. Let's face it, like, you're a 200 hitter at this point. I mean, you hit 200, just over 200 last year. I mean, you're hitting 188 right now. So, you're proving to me that, like, you're really just a home run or bust kind of guy, which, in today's MLB, you can get away with that, especially when you're hitting 46 like he has. And especially when you have the type of June that he does, where he can carry you for a month. And he's shown that he can get hot enough where he can just absolutely carry it for a month. So we've seen that like every June for the last like 4 Junes from him. So it's definitely possible that he can have success up there. But the track record for me, like, at this point with the Phillies, I don't care what he's done in the past. I'm talking about right now. Like, people always get hung up on like what the guy's done in the past. Like, all right, well, that the past is the past. Like, sometimes we get a little too hung up on, oh, what this guy did for me then. It's like, well, as he gets older and, as the game progresses, and now that we've seen with the pitch clock and the effect that it's having on these hitters, having to speed up their approach, like, all right, this is now like, for Schwarber, I think, all right, this guy is a home run or bust kind of guy. Like, if you put him lower in the lineup, which he did, put him in the 5th spot, you're having so much pressure now put on the pitcher, because when you have Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, and Nick Castellanos hitting in front of Schwarber at the 5th spot, like, the odds of those 3 guys, at least 1 or 2 of those 3 guys getting on every game, multiple times a game, is high, especially with Bryce and Trey. Because once Trey gets going, like, with Trey and Bryce hitting, when I love Trey and Bryce hitting 2-3. I think it's perfect. Like that's something I was hoping for. I wanted Trey batting second, right in front of Bryce, because just to have that speed on the base and that contact and that just superstar ability, excuse me, that Trey Turner possesses, and then of course what Bryce Harper can do. He needs guys, and Bryson Stott being in the leadoff spot, like get the guys on base that need to get on base. Like we got to set this lineup the way it needs to be set. And these guys are going to start getting comfortable knowing now, okay, like this is where I fit best in the lineup. This is where I fit best. And this is what my role should be going forward. And like, this is the best way that I can help the team. And for Schwarber, that is not at the leadoff spot. I just don't see it. And he has not proven that. Like, there's nothing that I can see, like anybody that I can see that is really can make an argument that, you can have him in the leadoff spot going forward. And with the way that he's performed, I just don't think that it's sustainable going forward. So I really want to see that him in the fifth spot. I think the fifth spot's a great spot for him. Like I said, with those guys hitting in front of him, like Schwarber is a guy, like if you just get guys on, like if you get guys on base, the pitcher's going to have to throw him more fastballs. It's just a matter of like, you're going to have to throw this guy strikes. You're trying to get this guy out. And of course you're thinking like, all right, Schwarber, he's a strikeout guy. He led the league in strikeouts last year, also led the league in home runs last year. And if he is going to hit the home runs, there needs to be guys on base. Like there's no excuse for Schwarber not to have over 100 RBIs. That is absolutely ridiculous, especially when he's going to hit 40 in a season. Like he's got 8 right now. He's on pace. He's going to hit 40 again this year if he's healthy. He's going to hit 40 again. But now let's get a guy or two on base each time when he does hit those home runs, because that is what is going to change the game. Those solo home runs don't really change the game at this point now in the MLB. But 2-run, 3-run homers, that is what makes you have to take a pitcher out extra early, go to the bullpen extra early. Like that is what really changes games. And that was something that they did not take advantage of last year. And I think that really hurt them for a while. And of course, with Bryce being out last year, like partially I get him being there last year. With Bryce not being there, you need like your best hitters hitting the most in the like, at that time. And Schwarber was certainly that for a lot of the season last year. Like he needed to be getting up. He needed to be getting those at bats at the top of the order. That's fine. But going now this year with the depth that we have now in our lineup, I mean, Edmundo Sosa, I haven't even talked about Edmundo, my favorite name to say on the entire Phillies team, hitting over 300 right now. Just ultimate baseball guy, great Philly, just a great player, great arm, can play third, play short, play out, can play in the outfield. Just a real versatile guy. Like, and Brandon Marsh, the strides that he's made this year. Like I said, he's batting 320 right now, leading the league in triples. Like this is a guy that I think is going to be in the conversation for an all-star this season. I mean, he's 25 years old. I think he's just starting to scratch his potential, and what an absolute steal. He might be, I mean, if Brandon Marsh continues to play like this, and if he can actually become an all-star, he's going to be the best contract in all of baseball, the best value contract in all of baseball. This guy's getting paid $6 million a year for the next 5 years. Like, and for the prime of his career that you're paid for, it's a move that is like, now people are really just realizing like, wait, yeah, Brandon Marsh, the pedigree, he was a former top 100 prospect. Like, this is a guy that has the pedigree, but a lot of people wrote off real quickly. And just what an absolute move for the Phillies to be able to go for Diamond Dave Dombrowski to go out and get him last offseason at the trade deadline. And people were upset with Logan Hope, but when you have the best catcher in baseball still, who's very quietly hitting 280, like JT, very quietly playing okay right now. He's not playing bad. Still throwing guys out at a high clip right now. I think he's second in the league in throwouts. So had a great game. Just had a great game against drawing a blank. Yes. Wow. Whew, yeah. Anyway, best game for the Phillies. My gosh. It was a long day. I worked today. So yeah, just remember it was a long day. But anyway, so, but yeah, I'd like to see going forward. I really want to see Schwarber in the fifth spot. Continue to let Stott grow. Like, Stott needs to get those at bats in the leadoff spot. Like, and especially with guys like Trey and Bryce now back. Bryce, his boy, is back now. Like, that's a guy that now you can have, that can really help just put a guy like Bryson Stott, a young guy like that, so much more at ease. Just all you have to do is get on, bud. Like, we don't care how, like, and you're going to get hit in at some point. Like, you're going to get hit in. We got we got all-stars all lined up behind you. Like, all you got to do is do your job, focus on doing your job, and like the rest will take care of itself. And I think that's the best way for the Phillies lineup really to go forward, is to have, so I would have Stott, Turner, Bryce, Castellanos, Schwarber, JT, Marsh, Bohm, and Sosa. That would be my lineup for the Phillies going forward. And I think that really should stay the same. Of course, when guys need days off and you switch, positions around and stuff. But that's my lineup. That's like, I'm setting that lineup. I'm setting and forgetting that lineup going forward. Like, I don't really need to think anymore about the Phillies lineup. It's one of the best lineups in baseball. Like, and I know we've struggled at this point, and that has a lot to do with the pitching, which I'm going to get into next. But, yeah, so I mean, like, obviously, like, the Phillies, the offense has not been great to start this season. Let's face it. 16 of the 34 games that they played this year, they have scored 3 or fewer runs. It's unacceptable. And the way that they have, especially with the Dodgers series was just something, was just like you blinked and it was just over. But yeah, so that, forget that series. That was just an absolute killing. But now coming into tonight with the interleague play with the Blue Jays, like, great matchup tonight with Manoah and Aaron Nola. Well, which Aaron Nola will show up, we don't know. But I really hope that it's still 0-0 right now too. Yeah, keep me updated, anybody on the Phillies too, if anything happens as well. And just let me know how Aaron Nola looks so far, how that velocity looks in the first inning, because it's something that's been very lacking to start the season. And I'm not going to listen to that he pitched into October excuse anymore at this point when it's May. So that should be over with. But yeah, I think going into it now with all right, so Schwarber, set him there. I think that's the spot. And yeah, set that lineup and forget it, man. Like this Phillies lineup is loaded. Like, they're gonna hit. Like, these guys are gonna hit. And now that Bryce is back, once Trey Turner gets going, I think the key is Trey Turner. Like, obviously the start that he's had to the year has not been good. It really hasn't. But at the same time, though, like, this is a guy that has been one of the best hitters in baseball. Guy who has the most hits in baseball since 2017. Like, this guy, a 300 hitter for his career. Like, this is a guy that is going to get it going. Like, I'm not worried about Trey Turner one little bit. Like, this is a guy who's been around. He's done it. Won a World Series. Like, he knows what he's doing. Like, and now that Bryce is back, he's going to now, okay, he's in the 2 spot now. Now Bryce is hitting, my buddy's hitting behind me. This is what we always dreamed of. Like, this is what we used to, like, this was, and that, and back in Washington, this is what we did. Like, now, like, we're back together. Now let's get it going. Like, now let's go. Now it's go time. Now we're set. And, now we can just play baseball. Now let's play baseball. Like, it's still early in the season. It's May. Like, obviously the Braves are just killing it as they always do. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to catch the Braves at this point. We're really going to have to start hitting, and we're going to have to start pitching a lot better, which I'll get into next, like I said. But yeah, I think once Trey starts to hit, I think that lineup is just, everything's going to fall into place with that lineup, because he's such a crucial piece to that lineup that if he gets on, then if Bryce has a guy on, then we're off to the races. Like, and then everybody else, and once Bryce starts to get going, which he's going to get going now, everyone's going to follow suit. Like, and it's just I think it's really a matter of time. Like, obviously the Phillies are in a tough stretch right here. Obviously a great test tonight, the next 2 nights against the Blue Jays. And they're in a great division. So this is a very good test for the Phillies, a expected playoff team, but in that division, like I'll get into later, who knows what playoff positioning will be when it comes to playing in that division, what it's going to look like when you're not for everybody not named the Rays. But yeah, so with Trey Turner, I got faith. I'm wearing his shirt tonight. I got faith in you, bud. We're going to get it going. The Phillies we're going to get it going. The offense, I am not worried about. What I am worried about more with the Phillies is definitely their pitching. So let's get into some of the Phillies pitching because it has not been great to start this year, to say the least. And it really falls on everybody. It's really been a really disappointing effort from everyone across the board. When you look at Aaron Nola, and Bailey Falter. I mean, Bailey Falter, I'm not really going to put much on Bailey Falter. Like, we're not expecting much from Bailey Falter. He's the fifth, he's a back of the rotation guy. He's had a terrible start to the year, 0-6, his ERA is over 6. Like, but at the same time, like, I wasn't expecting him to be, a Ranger Suarez or, be a match, what Matt Strahm is doing, to start this year. Matt Strahm has been the Phillies' best starting pitcher to start this year. And that's really unquestioned. I went to the game against the Rockies when he pitched into the 6th inning. He had a career high in strikeouts when he had 11 strikeouts that night. Oh, good. Bo Bichette just doubled to center. Nice. We're down 1-0. That's good. Great. Here we go. Yeah, Bo Bichette. Yeah, one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball. I think he's going to be the starting shortstop for the American League All-Star team this year. Absolute beast. So that doesn't surprise me right there. And it doesn't surprise me, Aaron Nola giving up the run to the opposing team first. So that's great. What's up, Rob? How you doing tonight, bud? Yeah, Ranger. Yeah, so Ranger. Yeah, this weekend. Yeah, so that's why I'm just getting into the pitching right now. But let me see here. Yeah, so with Ranger coming back now, it's expected for him to be back this weekend, right? Which is fantastic because it comes at a very good time, especially after the way the Phillies pitched against the that Dodgers series. So, and like I said with Matt Strahm, like, this is a guy who's been the best starting pitcher, but with the Phillies, like, we did not sign him to be a starter, and I think that's like really come into play now, and I think that's why we're going into the decision with Ranger expected to come back this weekend. Or within the week, with him coming back, now you're going to have an odd guy out, and Strahm already went back to the bullpen. Now I think that's an absolute mistake for the Phillies at this point because going into the season, right, we were all expecting Andrew Painter, right? I was expecting it. Who wasn't excited for that guy? Everybody was ready for him, but unfortunately, we still don't know exactly what the heck is going on with his arm. And I've been very concerned with it because it's, the lack of information. I know he's throwing, he just started throwing again, but it's very weird with how quickly that happened and how just radio silent they went after that. That's not normal, especially with, I guess it is. I don't know. I don't know normal. I don't know what's normal when it comes, to how the front office controls information. But I think with Andrew Painter, like, with how little we know about that, like, I'm not expecting him to pitch this year. Like, and I don't think anybody should be expecting him to pitch this year. At this point, it's just not realistic to throw a 20-year-old guy who's the future of the franchise, and especially with Aaron Nola being a free agent next off season, and with the way he's performed, do we really want to overpay him at this point? We're not paying for the past here. Like I said, we're not paying for past performance. We're paying for the future. And, as you get older, it's, usually you go the other way. Father Time is undefeated, So I think that's something that obviously that's at the forefront of the Phillies' plans of, with Andrew Painter. Of course, they're keeping it close to the chest. We don't know anything of what the plan is for him going forward in this season. We haven't really heard anything. But I really expect I don't expect him to play at all. And nobody should be expecting him to pitch this year. I just don't see it. I think we have too much right on this. We just have too much this season to throw a guy in there, who's the future of our franchise, expected to be one of the, best pitchers, future pitchers in baseball. Hopefully, potentially, we're hoping that as Phillies fans. But it's going to be very interesting to see if, what the plan is, if we hear anything really at all this year about it. But I don't expect to. So with that being said, all right, now that you have Ranger coming back, the hope for him is that he's going to be able to give you 5-6 innings a night. We need that. And then, of course, if they want to do that bullpen game, like, Strahm always can come in as the starter and you do it that way. But if you're going to go that route, and it looks like that's kind of the way that they're going, like, you're going to need a guy, like, you're going to need the starters. You're going to need the starters to go five, to at least go 6 innings like a start. You're expecting quality starts from your starters almost every time. And the Phillies the starters have not done that at all this year. We've got that very few and far in between. The only time that Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler really had good starts back-to-back after each other was the Astros series. That's really the only time that they've shown that they've had back-to-back good games together. All right, next time I'm eating after the show, not before. Sorry about that. There we go. But anyway, so yeah, like we really haven't seen the consistency that we've expected from the Phillies starters this year. And with that being said, like we need to see more consistency from the starters going forward. And hopefully Ranger Suarez can provide that. Now with Rangers coming back in and Strom going to the bullpen, and you're going to play that game where, he would be the starter in a bullpen type game. And you're really just going to go 4 starters with, Nola, Wheeler, Tajon Walker, who's been terrible so far, and Ranger. Like, we need to see a lot more from these guys. Like Wheeler, I'm not as much concerned. We're starting to see Wheeler pick it up. His fastball's getting back up to 97, 96, 97. So he's starting to get up there. Like I feel way more comfortable with Wheeler than I do Aaron Nola at this point. And I feel even least comfortable with Tajon Walker. Tajon Walker, who's absolutely been terrible to start the year. His ERA is over 5. Throwing so many pitches. He's throwing his splitter a lot, which has been far and away his most effective pitch that he does. But his fastball is what's been killing him. His fastball location has been absolutely atrocious. And same with Aaron Nola. And a lot with Aaron Nola, which I'm still convinced there's something going on with Aaron Nola because his velocity, it's been like 89, 91. I don't know how he's throwing right now, how fast he's throwing tonight to start off the game. But last series, like he was only throwing 89, 91. Like that fastball is not getting up past 91. And there was times it was getting 89. Like that's not normal. And I hear the excuse of, well, he pitched into October. Well, he pitched, that was the most he's ever pitched last year. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't care. Like he pitched, that he's a pitcher. Like he's a starting pitcher in the MLB that wants a $200 million contract. Yeah, you pitch in October. You should be expecting to pitch in October every year. I don't really care if that's the first time you've ever done it, bud. I really don't. Like your job and what you really want is $200 million next offseason for your contract. Like, and I applaud Dave Dombrowski and Middleton for holding off because, right, like this is a guy like, okay, like we saw you flame out in October, like in the World Series, granted, like most of the pitching did for the Phillies, aside from Zach Wheeler, who was unlawfully taken out that game 6 in Houston. But with Aaron Nola, like, dude, like it's either something's up or like you got to just accept reality here that like you are what you are right now. You're not a $200 million ace type pitcher. Like, okay, stop thinking you are. Maybe stop trying to be that. Because I think with Aaron Nola, it always comes down to mental. Like that's why he always goes into 4th or 5th inning when he has a 5-run lead and then he blows it. Like, or he just like has an implosion. Like that's what always destroys Aaron Nola. He pitches great, but it's one bad inning that gets him almost every single time. Almost every single time you can guarantee that Aaron Nola is going to absolutely just have a absolute stinker of an inning that just opens the floodgates. And the Phillies just can't recover. And then, of course, like we have a lead. And then after that, we can't score a run the rest of the game. And that's been the Phillies' real problem on offense as well. We score 5 runs, we'll have a burst of offense. And then the rest of the game, we don't hit. There has to be more consistency from this team, top to bottom, offense and pitching. No question about it. Lauren's watching. Oh, yeah, watching right now. Yeah, that's Lauren. Nice. I see they're losing right now. Hopefully you get some hot dogs. Because it's definitely 25-minute wait. Okay, that's not too bad. If anybody remembers from earlier in the season, the hot dog war was the dog night that unleashed hot dogs all across Citizens Bank Park. But the lines, if people didn't see the pictures of the lines last time, I mean, people were waiting. I don't know, it was like nice 8 and 25 minutes. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, they actually gave out a lot. Nice, good, nice. Okay. 8 and 25 minutes. Very nice. That's pretty good. That's a lot of hot dogs then. Wow. Lauren, I mean, you shouldn't be eating all those, but yeah, well, good luck to you. I mean, 8 and 25 minutes, they're going to get cold quick. So, but I got faith in you. You can eat all of them. So there you go. There we go. All right. So back to, I'm going to get hell for that one later. Back to the pitching. So yes, there's Strom. All right. So with Strom, like just to highlight Strom real quick, right? Like he's been our best starter. He's been our best starter this season. Now we're moving him to the bullpen. So he's pitched 27 innings this year, right? At this point right now. Last season, he reached 27 innings pitched July 9th. So that's like another 2 months later that last year. So with Strom, I get it. Like he was not meant to be a starter for us. And like that's a guy you're not expecting to go 5-6 innings because he's never really done that, especially over the last couple of years. He has not done that. So, like, yeah, you're worried a little bit about his durability. I can understand that. But Strom, I mean, he's been an absolute great addition to the team. I mean, I wasn't really too familiar with him before, but his personality, I mean, he fits perfectly into Philly. He's a guy that just pitch me anywhere. I'll pitch wherever. I don't care. Like, I'll go in and I'll get guys out. Like, that's the type of guy you need in Philly. Like, and he's got the flair, of course, the hair and jumping over the line. I love that little jump he does over the line. I don't know if everybody like notices that, but yeah, I love that. I love that about Strom. That's like that little, just, that's like his little thing that he does. I think it's great. He's just got such a vibe for Philly, but, not all for me, sure. So Strom, all right. So like, I get why they're moving him back to the bullpen, but I also think that's a mistake right now because with Bailey Falter, like we don't have another guy right now, especially with Painter being out. Like he's not going to be rushed back at all. Like like I said, I don't expect him to be pitching at all this year. So with that being said, like, all right, now you're kind of using that you got 4 starters, like Tajon Walker, you got to pitch better, bud. Like you got to pitch way better. Like you weren't signed to be this crappy. Like, yeah, I mean, you had a good year last year with the Mets. Like, at some point you got to pick it up here in this start to the season. Like I'm getting a little frustrated and tired of just the excuses of these starting pitchers now. Like I've been saying, like, and we've seen how many more get injured in the past week again. I might have to start a counter of like how many that we're starting to see like serious pitching injuries because we continue to see them yet again. But for the Phillies, so it's going to be interesting now with Ranger back. We have our top guys. Like these guys have proven it. Like these guys have all proven that they can pitch successfully for long stretches of time. It's just a matter of like, it's up to them now. It's up to these guys. Like the offense is going to do their thing, but at some point the pitching has got to be able to keep up and adjust to this pitch clock. Like these guys have got to be able to adjust. You got to be able to adjust to the pitch clock, be able to adjust to the speed of the game now, and be able to to be able to go 6 innings. I mean, it's a new way of figuring it out how to pitch, but it's up to them to figure out. They're the ones who got to figure it out. We can talk about it. We can argue about it. We can complain about it all we want, but it's going to be up to them to figure it out. And they haven't figured it out yet. So, and am I 100% confident that they're going to? I'm confident because we've seen it from these guys. Like we know these guys can do it. We know Nola can be that type level pitcher at times, but just the consistency has never been there for him. It's not been there this year, but at some point, like, all right, he's in a contract year. Like if he doesn't, he knows, like you got to know this is affecting him right now mentally, but at some point, dude, you got to put that aside. Like you can't worry about it right now. Like that's in the off season, like worry about that later. Like you can't control that now. You got to focus on now. Like you got to focus on each start at a time. Take it a start at a time. Like they always say, like as mundane as it sounds, right? Like you got to take it one start at a time. And that's what he's going to have to do. It's only 1-0 right now, so that's not too bad. And of course, the Braves are winning in the first inning again. That's great. What else is new? So yeah, all is right in the world with the Phillies. That's great. But it's gonna be the Phillies got a tough stretch coming up, and we got to play better. I mean, it's been unacceptable here to start the season. But I like the move with Stott going back to leadoff. Schwarber, get him out of leadoff. Should never have gone back in the first place. Let's keep him middle of the lineup. Get him those RBIs. I want to see those RBIs. It's going to look a lot better at the end of the season, and I think we'll have some more wins because of it. So yeah. All right. So yeah, that was pretty good with the Phillies. Yeah, 40 minutes. Let's see here. Let me check how they're doing right now. If anything productive is going on in this game, which, obviously I'm seeing we're losing 0 right now. So it doesn't look like anything really is happening with the Phillies lineup right now. And the Sixers are about to start too pretty soon. Here, shout out to the Sixers tonight. I'm gonna go lose my mind after this. Matt Chapman just got a hit. Okay, good. All right, 1, 2, 3 in the third. Good for the Phillies. All right, good. That's good. Well, not doing much right now, but it's still early. Nick Castellanos, Alec Boehm are only hits right now. Nick, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Aaron Nola, 50 pitches through 3 innings right now. Not great. Don't love to see it. He's got 4 strikeouts. Giving up 3 hits in 3 innings. Just same thing. Hopefully he can keep it 1 and it's been the whole entire thing with the Phillies this entire season, right? Like the consistency. It's like the offense can never be good when the pitching is good, and the pitching can never be good when the offense is good. It's just always one. It's always one or the other, and it's like barely one. It's a lot of this season has been barely one and barely the other. But yeah, at some point, these guys just got to be able to have it click it, fire on all cylinders at the same time and play as a team, and just it's coming because there's just the talent on this team. We saw it last year. What happens when they get hot all at the same time? This team is capable of it, and they finally proved it to me last year. I mean, before that playoff run, I wasn't confident at all they would make a run, but man, did they prove us wrong. They proved me wrong for sure. Now that with our savior back, Bryce Harper, and looking like he's going to be fine, even though the MLB doesn't want to give him time to put on his brace and not protect their players because they don't give a crap about players, which, typical of Rob Manfred and the MLB. What else is new? What a way to grow the game, to show that you care about your players when you don't give him time to, protect himself, when he's coming back, to play, which people are paying for, to see that type of player play, and doing everything he's done possibly can to get back. But no, you don't want to give him a couple extra seconds, just to have extra time. So now he's got to rush to put on a brace. But somehow you're all about the players. I mean, what a freaking joke. But yeah, so I really hope the Phillies can turn it on tonight and they can finally get some offense going, because we really need to start winning some games here, because the Braves can't stop winning games. And luckily the Mets are the Mets and the Marlins are the Marlins. The Braves are the only people. The Braves are always going to be the team I'm always worried about, because they know what they're doing. They've shown that for years and years and years, and basically the last 30 years, they've been the pinnacle of the NL East in terms of how to run a team and how many players have gone through there in the last 30 years. I mean, just how many guys you can name that they've drafted. It's just been truly, truly remarkable. So, but I hate them. I hate them though. So I hope we can make some ground tonight, and I hope we can, figure it out, because we got to get it going now. We can't keep waiting, and but we know this offense is capable of it. We know this pitching is capable of it, and it's just it's all up to them. Like I said, it's all up to them. So let's move on to the other MLB action across around the diamond, across the country. So the keeping it in the East, the AL East, the best division in all of baseball. With my first show, I said that the Rays, I wanted to see them. I wasn't ready to put them as the best team in baseball. I wanted to see them beat some of the best teams, and it's been 2 more weeks now, and they still keep winning. They can't stop winning. So I think it's officially safe to say that the Rays are the best team in baseball right now, and they really are. And they're the best team in the best division of baseball right now. It's truly remarkable what's happened in the AL East right now to start the season, because every single team right now, even though the Yankees have been the least impressive of the bunch, every team is over 500 right now, which is absolutely rare at this point in May, that every team is over 500 in a division. It's very, very rare. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see. I mean, you got two young teams and they're playing tonight. The Orioles and the Rays actually are playing right now. Baltimore's actually winning 4-2. Interestingly enough, but Tampa's got two men on in the top of the fifth. They're threatening right now. So, that's got to be a good game on right now. Damn. Okay, that's good. Oof, I have to check in that one too later. But yeah, so you got those two teams with two of the 5 lowest payrolls in all baseball. The Rays and the Orioles, the top 2 teams in the division. Like I said a couple weeks ago when I was talking about the Rays, when I was talking about both of these teams, and when I was talking about the Pirates too, like even though the Pirates have cooled off a little bit, like all these young guys, all this developing talent. That's what the Rays and the Orioles. I mean, they're the pinnacle of what doing that right now. Just and the Orioles, the amount of talent they still got to come in their farm system with Jackson Holiday to obviously the number 1 overall pick they just had. He's still yet to come to the majors. I mean, they got so much talent, young talent on that team right now, and the Rays obviously just among the pitch and Shane McClanahan. He needs if you watch baseball, Shane McClanahan, you need to start watching that guy. You need to start watching this guy. He's 7-0 right now. 7-0 for the Rays, 1.76 ERA. This guy was one of the best starting pitchers in baseball last year, and he's looking like the best starting pitcher in baseball in all baseball right now. Like, and he's not a household name by any stretch of the imagination. This is a guy that's like you don't really know because he plays on the Rays, and but this is a guy like people need to start paying attention to. And he's definitely going to be. He's one of my fantasy ads. Like, this is a guy. If you're going to spend money for a pitcher, like this guy, top money. If you're going to spend top money for a fantasy pitcher, like this is the guy you're looking at every week. Because he's playing on that team, like, and they depending on the matchup and what he's got going this week, man, I'll tell you what, this guy is legit. I mean, he reminds me of Clayton Kershaw a little bit. I mean, this guy's got that overpowering stuff as a lefty, absolute dominant, and playing on the best team in baseball, with the best pitcher, best team in baseball, not a bad combo. So, yeah, I would bet on that most times. So, thank you, Joe. What's going on, Joe? Good to see you, bud. Yeah. So, good. The Sixers are about to start. I'm gonna have to do my deep breath exercises. Shout out to my mom there. She's a nurse, so my deep breathing exercises she always tells me to do before I watch stressful sports games. So shout out to her on that. I know she'll appreciate that. But so with the way that Rays and the Orioles have been playing, the rest of the powerhouse names that you would expect to be dominating the AL East still doing well. I mean, the Blue Jays, obviously, they're one of the best offenses in all baseball, led by Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette, as I see tonight with his RBI double off Aaron Nola so far, and he also leads the league in hits right now. So one of the best offenses in baseball. Matt Chapman, career resurgence this year in Toronto, and looking like going to be all-star third baseman again, really back, and really been a big ad. Was a really big ad at the trade deadline last year for them, but is really showing like he's come back to his Oakland days, some of his best Oakland days when he was in Oakland. Well, rest in peace, Oakland. I should say Vegas. Now, the future Vegas is. He's been playing great for them this year. Former platinum glove winner, one of the best defensive third basemen in all of baseball as well, when he's healthy. So they have a great team. They have great pitching as well. Manoah, he's been struggling a lot he's been struggling a little bit this year to start the year. Of course, against the Phillies tonight, I'm sure he'll throw a shutout, as what else is new. But yeah, I think that with the way that they're playing and the way that the Red Sox have obviously been playing now, the Red Sox, they've had a great offense. Their offense has really been playing good. They have really good solid. They have a good lineup. Their pitching is the big question, obviously, with them. Chris Sale had a great game against the Phillies last time. The Red Sox, yes, against the Phillies just a couple days ago. But yeah, he's a guy that can really implode, and we've seen his injury history. So, and there's really not much depth behind him in the starting rotation for Boston. So, their pitching is really what's going to have to hold up for them. And we've seen over the last 2 years that has really let them down, especially down the stretch. So, and in a division like that where you're going to have to pitch well, yeah, that's going to be tough for Boston to be able to make a run in that wild card, especially over teams like, and even with the Orioles, like their pitching isn't, especially their starting pitching isn't really like, I wouldn't say is their strong suit, but because they got a lot of young guys and unproven guys, excuse me. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting for them if they can continue to keep developing and continue to get through those growing pains, which they're going to have, and go through those slumps at some points throughout the year, which all players will, all young, especially young players, they'll all have that at some point throughout the year. It's just the way it goes. But to be able to get through that and just learn that it's part of the MLB game, that you're going to have stretches like that, and then you're going to have really good stretches, and when you guys are all playing good, and when one guy's playing good and everyone else isn't playing good. So that's really going to be a thing to watch for them going forward. And then we get to the Yankees. So the Yankees, man, they've I don't know what's we got to have a nickname for the Yankees, just how injured they are. But Aaron Judge is back tonight. And I think with Aaron Judge coming back tonight, I wanted to talk about how that's a mistake. He's going in the second spot, and he did most of his damage there last year, obviously in his historic MVP season last year. But I think if you want to do something with the Yankees, obviously the big question has been their pitching health, and it's been their health. But I think with them, Tom, what's going on, bud? Good. Please be. Let's see. Hopefully you're watching the Sixers for us. Hopefully they're doing. Hopefully they're starting off well here. Hopefully they started on time. I know it's supposed to start at 7:30, but the NBA they never start on time. Oh, good. We're winning. Oh God, we're winning. Okay, shoot. All right. Wow. All right, we're already playing good. All right. Cool. All right. Nice. Good. That's good. All right. Cool. All right. Good. Sixers. Come on now. Good start. All right. We're up by 5. I won't get too excited though. Yeah, so I really think that, what was I saying there? Strike with the Yankees. So I think with the Aaron Judge, I think he should go in the third spot. I really think you should move him in the third hole in the lineup, because if you're expecting him to really carry like he did last year, of course, we saw, and we're not expecting him to hit 62 home runs this year. Like obviously that was a once in a lifetime season contract year, like all the stars aligned. Every star that could have possibly aligned for him last year did. And good on him. And then he, now he got the big, got probably $180 million more than what was offered the year before, whatever it was, went from like 215 to 360. So, 140. Yeah. So it was a lot more. But yes. And now he's the face of the Yankees, and right where he should be. But now I think, agree on Judge. Yeah, like if you put him in the third, put him in the third spot, and like Rizzo's been batting that third spot, and with Stanton being as hurt as he's been, like that's just a guy you can't count on to be in that lineup anymore. I think you got to put. I would definitely either put Gleiber. I know they've had so many injuries. And Volpe, I like him. They're young guy. I love that. They're young 21-year-old shortstop. I like him leading off. I think that's perfect. Put him up there, get him the at-bats, get him the experience. You've got those guys, Rizzo and Judge, hitting behind him. But I would switch Rizzo. Like Rizzo's a guy who's got as much experience, much playoff experience as anybody on that team in the league. Like this is a guy that knows how to win and knows how to do what's best for the team. I think he's one of those guys. So let's put him in this 2-hole and Judge in the 3-hole. But I think Judge needs put these guys in the opportunity where they can get the most RBIs, because if they're going to hit the home runs, you want guys on base. That's I don't understand this with some of these lineups across Major League Baseball. I'll get into more of that next week. But yeah, at some point, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. That's what they need to do. We need to do. That's what they need to do. I don't give a crap what they do, but I'm just saying that's maybe what they should do. But who am I, right? I just have a podcast, but it's a great one. Strike Zone. Love talking with you guys tonight. We got 5 minutes left. I can't believe it. I'm already every week. This goes by so quick. I'll tell you what, it's been great talking with you guys tonight. But yeah, so I guess I'll just make my prediction with the AL East. With the Yankees, man, they just got to get healthy. And now with Carlos Rodon with a chronic back issue now, another pitcher. Here we go again. Add another one to the tally. Phillies dodged a big bullet on that one. Thank God if that qualifying offer wasn't attached to him, that would have made. I tell you what, I wouldn't have been surprised if instead of Tajon Walker, we had Kyle Schwarber. If that would not have been the case, we wouldn't have been penalized another draft pick like we were for Trey Turner when we signed him. We weren't going to sign another guy where we would have to lose a second round pick, that rejected a qualifying offer. That I think we dodged a big bullet there. And the Yankees, of course, another pitcher that, of course is hurt, just that seems to be the thing with them all the time. So I really, so with the AL East, it's the Rays to lose. Obviously at this point, they're the best team in it right now. But I think the Blue Jays are the team that really interests me a lot. That was a lot of people's pick for them to win the AL East going into this season. I think they were my kind of pick for the AL East. I did not expect the Rays to be as good as they are. I did not expect them to be as good as they are. But obviously the results speak for themselves, and with the talent that they have and the pitching that they have, I think they're going to continue to just dominate. Especially they're built to win. They're built to win in today's MLB. They're pitching, from their starters to their bullpen are built to win in this pitch clock era. They've been built to win like this. They are just tailor-made to play in these type of conditions, and especially playing in the dome that they play in. Like, they're just in a perfect spot to continue to dominate for the rest of the season. And I think they're going to continue to do that. So, and for some of, so let's get into, so my fantasy picks for the end of the week. We got some great matchups, some rivalries tonight. Like I said, with Shane McClanahan pitching this week, he's my top guy for the Rays. I got to give him love. Like I said, the results speak for himself. He's the best pitcher in baseball right now. He was at a stretch last year before he got hurt and fell out of Cy Young voting at the end. But this is a guy who's been doing it for the last 2 years and is really showing that he is the ace for the best team in all of baseball. And with a guy like that, that's a guy you go with every time. Like Garrett Cole with the Yankees. He's been that type of ace, top of the line guy that you can pretty much count on, like, almost every given night that he's going to give you a quality start. And so, like, you see guys like him and Cole, and obviously like Ohtani, some of these guys, obviously Ohtani's Ohtani. I shouldn't even put him in. I can't even put anybody in that category with him. But like, some of these guys are figuring out, and some of these guys are pitching very well at the pitch clock. Sonny Gray, a guy who's completely revitalized his career with the Twins. That guy is one that I'm definitely highlighting as well. Sonny Gray for the Twins, leading the league in ERA right now. And his K numbers are top 5 in the league as well. He's really, really rebounded after a couple years of just being injured on and off. But he's been one of the best surprises. And the Minnesota Twins, they have the top starting pitching staff in all of baseball right now. Pablo Lopez, who they got for Luis Urias, who everybody thought was a terrible trade at the time, but Pablo, I thought he wasn't a pitcher that was worthy of trading a guy that is going to lead the league in batting average. You can't put a price really on a guy that can get on base like the way that Luis Urias can. But I think with him, with the improvements of that starting pitching staff, I mean, they've really been impressive. And also the Chicago Cubs, Justin Steele, breakout player to start the year right now. Justin Steele for the Chicago Cubs, pitching absolutely great, 4-1, tremendous ERA, not walking a lot of guys. He's definitely a pick for me as well this week. Very great start to the season. The Cubs have been definitely, they're starting to keep an eye on the Cubs. This is a team that has a lot of good players, like Cody Bellinger starting to figure it out again, starting to look like himself again. Dansby Swanson looks like the All-Star season was not a fluke last year. He's continuing where he left off with the Braves. He's continuing to really show the growth that he's finally living up to that number 1 overall pick, status that he had. He's finally living up to it. And it's, obviously the Braves. I'm glad he's gone from Atlanta, and I wish him nothing but luck with the Cubs because, the Cubs very interesting team. They're my team. They're my pick of the week for a team. If you want to like look at guys to start this week, check the Cubs lineup out. Like this is a team that really I think is going to make some noise. Like I said, Bellinger, Cody Bellinger starting to figure it out. Played very well over his last 12 games, hitting over 300. So starting to figure it out. Also has over 10 extra base hits in his last 12 games. So definitely starting to figure it out. And I 1-year deal, prove it deal. Really good for the Cubs to try and get him. So with that being said, hope you guys have another great week. Let's go Phillies. Let's go Sixers. Sixers winning at the moment. Thank God. Let's hope so. Sixers take a win tonight, Joe. You know what? I'm going to say yes because trust the process, baby. It's legacy time for Embiid and Harden tonight, and I'm ready for it. So, guys, let's enjoy tonight. Go Sixers. Go Phillies. And A2D Nation, I'll see you guys next week on the Strike Zone. Let's go Philly.